Join us for an enlightening experience where you will gain a deeper understanding of the purpose and essence of opening your eyes. This is your chance to enhance self-awareness and personal growth with a shift in perception that provides a fresh outlook on life. Embrace the journey from consciousness to superconsciousness by Barrett Kunyan.
Well, brother Rick Jewers, welcome to our Activator platform, brother. It's always an honor, pleasure to be in your divine presence. Thank you very much for showing up today as well. So today's hot topic discussion is going to be individual timeline placement by state of being. So exciting, brother. If before we start, I noticed most recent update as well, and I was really tickled by this because I did the little exercise myself, and I must confess it was really powerful. And it's to do how to balance and calibrate your own energetic field, and that. So basically, what we're saying is that we've got to start sort of tapping this area here. Hold on, so that viewers can see it. It's the solar plex area, isn't it? So somewhere there. Do you want to give us a little demonstration again? Because and it's sort of high pitch, right? Sound. Oh, so you sort of tap that area there. That yeah, that's awesome, brother. That's really that's a good modality to work with. And you don't have to put too much pressure there, right? You're not sort of punching yourself, but enough pressure. Yeah, that's that's
Yeah,
really good.
I'll give a little demonstration, if you will, Barrett, and thank you, brother. I'm so grateful to be on the show again, and again, what we all do together at getting information out to assist all freely, and it's a very good thing. Now, I understand we have a little lag uh, in our
Sorry.
speech on this, and typically I experience that. So, what I will do anytime you're speaking, I will wait about a moment before I begin to speak. Um, but having said that, yeah, I'm grateful to be here. So, what you were referring to, Barrett, is basically if you feel the bottom of your rib cage here and where it comes up, this is the bottom of your sternum, right, of the breastbone. This is called the xiphoid process. And it's on some, it may be protruded outward at this time, or it may be flat. It does change in protruding outward or being flat. So if any experiences that, that is typical and common with this ascension, for reasons I don't want to fully get into because that would be a lengthy discussion. So you identify the area. So right here in your breast, and it's actually in your heart chakra area. Your heart chakra is right along here with your higher heart being up in this area and your solar plexus just being below it. But in this area, what occurs is if you feel your energetic field discordant, or if you're out going about your daily thing in contact with different people, and if you just feel that things are not quite right and you want to recalibrate, well, what you simply do is have your quiet place. You locate this, take the back of your fist, this part, and tap lightly as you're going, ah, but get it the highest pitch as you can. I do go higher, but I didn't want to do that right here. Yeah. And you tap here for about 30 seconds to a minute Just keep
Yeah.
tapping as you're going. Ah. And what this does, it recalibrates and solidifies your energetic field if you are into contact with others also that have erratic fields. So typically, your aura, your energetic field, emanates outward from you about 3 feet, about a meter. And if you are close to others that are going through the process that have a lot of fear, or even, with different foreign things in their vessel, it disrupts their field. And if you are around them long enough, it will begin also to drain your field and make it erratic. So, this is one process at the end of the day, or when you're done work, it depends what environment you're in, that you can stabilize your field and solidify it once again. And, just simply and typically, this is your heart is electrical, and paramedics, if you will, when someone has a heart attack or their heart stopped, this is where they pound, because you are an electrical being to jumpstart yourself again. And with the defibrillators, this is the area they put them on. But everything's energy. We're all energetic beings, and this is one thing that assists. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Um, may I just bring up another area, just if I may? It's to do with the crystalline crystalline upgrade modes that some of us are experiencing right now. Because I noticed on your page as well, you mentioned things like insect bites and stings. I must confess, I have been experiencing this myself, noticed a few places, and I can't recollect me going anywhere in particular for me to, because I know immediately I'm very sensitive to, like, if it's a mosquito or a wasp or a bee or whatever. And but the funny thing, Rick, brother Rick, is the fact that it heals very quickly. So it does emerge, but then it sort of it goes away. Because I was going to show you one I had about seven hours ago, but it's completely gone now. It was just around back here. It's it just comes and goes, and that's like on the leg, a little bit here. But if I may throw this one as well, because I got quite excited about reference to the actual crystals that are forming as well, because you actually put one on display for us to see as well. Is this something that we're all going to experience, brother, or is it like a select few, or are we all going to go through this process? Would you say?
Thank you so much, brother, for bringing up this topic. And before I begin to go into that, my
Yeah,
smoking cigarettes, these are organic tobacco cigarettes, and there is a huge difference with this.
different.
I suggest for no one to smoke bought-in cigarettes. They're loaded full of chemicals. This
Yes,
tobacco, what we use, is organic, it's clean tobacco. And for any in the on the spiritual journey, many finds it beneficial. And
sure,
one of the reasons why, with ceremonial tobacco, that indigenous spirit, spiritually inclined, what is the word, indigenous leaders, and for whatever reason, the
yes,
word escaped me, but for ceremonial purposes, many indigenous groups worldwide use organic tobacco as a substance to create clarity and a better connection to spirit, in the least. So this is one of the reasons I smoke, and it's organic tobacco. Now, getting right to the point, um, you asked the question: will all experience this crystalline process, if you will? The answer is to some extent, all will experience it. But there is others that, with this overall ascension, are going further forward. Once we have the fifth dimensional state, we'll use fifth dimensional state just as a gauge of where we're going to. So there'll be, the main idea is upon the planet with the overall ascension, it was an individual or a definite number that were ascending, but in 2016 the entire thing changed and it turned into a planetary ascension. So because of that, there are ones of us that are advanced. Once our divine work is done, we go into the other multi-dimensional realms. However, it is a prerequisite with all that, let's say, the human divine souls that are staying in the fifth dimensional reality, they have to be upgraded as well, but not as much as the ones that will be going further forward into the multi-dimensional experiences with the physical vessel intact. So what is occurring at this given time is that we are going through another period of crystalline upgrading, and the crystalline upgrading within the individuals and the collective, it occurs as a result of a heightened frequency and vibration overall on earth that allows it to occur. So this is very good signs when you see this. And also it's indicative that shortly afterwards, all of the human souls are empowered even higher because you're upgraded with a more crystalline content in the physical vessel. Now, everything is energy, and crystals are very important for energy. So, with the organic vessel, it was a carbon based organism, but it has been transforming, if you will, more into the crystalline base. Now, with all of us, if you're to examine the plasma of your blood, you will find that there's a plasma component in there. And that is also a divine blueprint, indicating that you are a divine soul, that there are other fourth dimensional nefarious and evil beings that don't have this in their blood, the ability to ascend in their connection to source. They play the role in the fourth sub fifth dimensional spectrum. But to exist in the higher fifth fifth dimensional state, the physical vessels have to be upgraded so that they vibrate at a certain frequency to be able to sustain it. So there are ones unbeknownst to them, they'll just think it's uh, bites, bed bugs, or what have you. But others that need to know it more extensively will even see the little crystals form and come out, and the granules as well. So with the granules, there are ones in the past when they're going through their stages of transformation that it would be like someone took a handful of sand and threw it in your bed. And some of the feminine in the past, what I assist and collaborate with and guide, they have shared this with me. They had just cleaned the bed perfectly clean, get in the bed by themselves, have a full night's sleep, wake up with sand in the bed, and but it's actually the granules being projected out through the pores of the skin, and they solidify. But it's silicon, it's carbon based silicon. So what you're doing is upgrading from carbon to silicon, then to more of a crystalline content. So these are parts of that process. And it varies with your physical vessel, meaning that one day you could have the crystals coming out of you, like I showed on Facebook. But also, then the next day, it depends on what part of your organic vessel is being upgraded. So one day you could have big crystals coming out, or, a good size, the size of the tip of a writing pen. But then the next day you could have a whole bunch of granules, because it's dependent on what part of the body is being, the organic physical vessel is being upgraded. So we keep going forward with this crystalline process, and with that, your nerve endings in your humanoid vessel, you have billions of those. Those are everywhere. So when you touch your skin anywhere, this is your touch. It's because there are nerve endings there. But these nerve endings that come to the surface of your skin, to the epidermis, these are natural transmitters and receivers of energy. And this is what is connected to your aura and your energetic field. So, what occurs also with the crystals, many of these nerve endings begin to be upgraded to crystalline, so you sustain a stronger and a higher frequency. And this assists you in the title of what we have here, your placement of staying on a higher divine timeline as well. So it's part of your physical vessel being appropriated divinely to be able to sustain an existence in a higher reality. We are still in duality, so incrementally and marginally the process is being applied. So it's not just a full fledged from an organic vessel into a full crystalline light being that poof, you're gone, you could not exist there. It's because we have it, there's an actual divine mission and reason and purpose that we are here and going through this at this time. This is why it's not an individual ascension that someone becomes fully enlightened and their body goes to the light body and they leave. Everything is divinely regulated because it's a planetary ascension.
Yeah, no, thanks for that, brother. I also, if I may, 2nd of July, and I've heard you say this before, brother. It's reference to the evil has already been defeated for you. You just need to choose the reality where it is so. And then we put at the bottom gpms.world. Now, some people have questioned. I don't know if you're at liberty to say that, but what force removed the evil as such that we're talking about, or and has the world ever been in a place where has it been able to rid the evil before? Is this an unprecedented situation we're experiencing? Reference to the word, evil has been removed. If you could just add a bit light to that.
Yeah, indeed. There's several levels of perspective that I could answer this, but again, let's keep it simple with
Sure.
this. Um, because, again, we wish to keep this oriented to the highest consciousness. So, by having said that, and coming from this perspective, there is no evil,
Mm.
there is no darkness. Now, there is a resistance that is created by the belief of the other co creators that are in fear. But for us, there is no evil, if you will. There is no darkness. But there are fabrications of it created unbeknownst by the other co creators that have not just advanced enough um, in consciousness to realize this. So it's like a paradox, if you will, and it's kind of contradictory and conflicting. But again, it's because of the perspective that you attempt to explain it to and the level of consciousness that you're catering to with explaining. And what I generally do is where I cater, if you will, to all levels of consciousness, then I will customize how I will present it. But let me say that one of the generic ways that I present it is that we're in a spiritual battle upon the planet, but we have already won it. We have already won the spiritual battle etherically, but now we're here physically playing out the roles to bring it into the physical manifest. We are safe from all harm because there is no harm. But to facilitate the advancement and to get ones to make higher choices and to do what is right and step into their co creator abilities, the darkness plays a role in that. So the darkness is a test upon them to earn and recognize their divinity and their mastery, and also to embody the trust and the virtue. These are important energetic values, which are the keys for the ascension, because uh, any negative or fear-based actions and reactions, it is an energy, and it keeps you in these lower dimensions, sub 5D. So this is why everyone is undergoing um, everyone that is awakened to some degree is undergoing experiences and subjugation with the darkness, seeing the truth on their journey of knowing part of the reality that they actually created by giving away their power and letting these other nefarious sub 5D entities control and enslave and rule them. But
Yeah,
again, I kind of mixed a couple levels of explanation there.
yeah, yeah. No, thanks a lot for that, brother. And I noticed that you also mentioned about the timelines are changing so much as well. And if you can give us sort of like some information how we can stay more anchored, to be more centered, because you mentioned about people giving promises to people that we don't actually need to promise anything to anyone, really. We don't need to go out there and be saying I promise that I'd like to do this and get into the specifics about times and also that on this day we're going to do that. There's no need for that anymore. I feel that's where we're getting more aligned to. Can you just add a little bit of flavor to that, in as far as the promises? We don't need to promise
Yeah,
anymore.
indeed. Yeah. Yeah, at this time, we are in times of incredible change with reality and with the individual. So, what I strongly suggest for all is do not obligate nor commit yourself to a future uh, timeline or thing that is connected to the matrix or something that may not allow you to be as flexible and versatile in your divine instruction and guidance. And because the vibration dictates what reality will be, and we're constantly raising the vibration, which means it changes everything. It can change everything that you had planned in a moment's notice, and it's not your fault. So you may say, next Friday, I'll be at your place for your party that you're having. It's an important party. But what may occur on Thursday, you may find, no, you cannot do that because something has changed in your reality. So it makes more of an ease of flow if
Yeah.
anyone just say maybe, perhaps. I cannot guarantee it because we are in great times of change. And with this, it begins to create a broader understanding with the others that you mingle or integrate with as well. And you're also informing and teaching them to some respect that there's something else occurring on the planet at this time that will not allow you to commit like you did before and to not project out a week's time in your reality because you may be divinely called to do something else. But also importantly, divine brother Terry Duff had sent me something that I already knew today, but it became a refresher. And I'm going to just speak a little bit about it now. And it's about the mechanical clock, the biological clock, but also the divine clock. So, with this, the mechanical clock, many are breaking that to go to their natural clock and rhythm. With the simply with what I call the mechanical clock is the monotonous routine of a 9 to 5 job where society or your employer dictates where you're going to be at any given time. So this is a form of enslavement and restriction because if you had your choice, you would not want to have to go to work 9 to 5 and be in that place. So this is controlling ones in the past. So we are breaking that control of the mechanical clock, which is a subject of the matrix, so it has to be broken. So ones begin to go with their natural clock, listening to their body when it's time to get up. They don't set alarm clock. If the physical vessel needs to rest for 16 hours, it does that, and it's not controlled by a matrix clock. So this is part, you have the mechanical clock, you begin to break it to follow more of your natural rhythm. Because remember, with a mechanical clock, it's not in the natural rhythm with the energetics of Gaia. And then you come into your natural flow. Then there comes the time with the higher timeline that you become on the higher divine clock, divine flow, which actually you don't need to do anything. The way the clock works in divinity is that you follow the divine prompts and instructions that is given to you. For example, the way that I'm working divinely upon the planet. I don't get up in the morning with a plan for the day. The way it works for I with assisting ones, there'll be a message or two or three or even more that will come in, but I readily identify, all right, my divine work for today is to collaborate or assist with this one, but not limited to that. That is just an example. And it's about taking your freedom back as well. You know, humanity has been enslaved in their energetic pillaged for a capitalistic system that has inflicted great harm upon humanity. However, that was all great with the old design. Again, we are in the uncharted, unprecedented times, as you mentioned, where that old reality it no longer serves. We are going into what the humans and human soul experience, what everyone wanted: happiness, abundance, freedom, bliss, all of the good things. So the clock, if you will, is one of the parts of that process. Everything is affected with this ascension to facilitate the full freedom and the place where all of that freedom resides, which is in the fifth dimensional state of being.
Yeah, no, it's awesome, brother. Yeah, because I find it, harmonics. It's sort of more. It's in tune with harmonizing, and people find when you're in your presence, they feel more uplifted, and they tend to go more with the flow rather than go against the flow. So that's the way to go forward, I guess. That's really powerful.
It's a Yeah, for some, it's a very challenging time at this time for the very reason I'm using this as the in between. This is the lower timeline, this is the higher timeline. For most down here, they don't know what exists up here. And I love its brother Neptune, I forget his name. You know, they don't know that they don't know what's up here. They think it's all it is. But when they get at this threshold and weird things start occurring and their perspectives begin to change, that is when they're more open to knowing that there is something else. But also, when you begin to go into these levels of the higher timeline, incrementally your prowess is increasing all the time. Your parapsychological gifts, your divine gifts, and what have you. And as we keep going higher, you come to know that you're a co creator and that your choices are so important, and to always make the higher choices and the best, purest choices, the most virtuous, because if you don't, you descend back down here on the lower timeline and you'll be subjugated to the negative tests that you need to learn. Don't do that. For example, you might not have lied for a year on your journey, and you might be up here, but all of a sudden, if you dip down here and you forget the divine reasoning and you tell a lie, it'll put you down and you'll be subjugated to lies from many others. So that you have the experience that you see and it gets integrated in the consciousness. Don't do that because it lowers you and it subjugates you to unnecessary tests. So it's important um, to retain your divine integrity in all aspects to the fullest at all times. Then you reside on this higher timeline because with your state of being, you have purified your energetic acts and reactions, and you are meticulous with your conscious thoughts because you are a co creator and you are affecting reality to the degree that you have become empowered. And if during your process, if you don't, if you are, let's say, right in between and you don't practice all of the good things, but you have your co-creator prowess intact. Hi, buddy. Then what occurs, you'll keep creating unnecessary negative things that will keep you hindered and anchored in the old reality when really you can be up high and experiencing a total different heightened reality on a higher timeline.
Thank you for that, brother. I mean, reference to technologies that we're surrounded with as well. Um, I mean, I've got my own personal take, and I feel we might be on the same page. Is reference to like AI and how we address artificial intelligence. I suppose if in its nucleus it's a bit like GPMS, cause no harm, loss, or impose on the freedom of others, and it's a bit of a double-edged sword. So if your intention is of the highest, the purity, it would, if anything, it would probably speed the process up. Referenced with these technologies, how does it sit with you? If I said the word AI, for example, people use it for for personal growth. They use it. I mean, it can be misused, like most things can be. But if it's put in a place where the precepts are of the highest, is that, would you say that's a good thing to work with? Um, the-
What I will say, yes, for the advancement of humanity, AI is very beneficial. And part of the reasoning for that, AI is a fourth dimensional technology that is its capacity is only as good as its creators. So, meaning that if nefarious ones create it, the capacity is only a fourth dimensional technology capacity. However, where we are here in this duality, where you have a huge and growing complement of fifth dimensional beings, what we are actually doing is teaching and purifying this AI to be purified, if you will. So it's being taken away from any misuse and it's being populated with the higher consciousness and the higher wisdom because the fifth dimensional consciousness has the priority over it. And yes, we use it for the good tools. And it's like
Absolutely.
all of your satellites, and this is all fourth dimensional technology. We are
Yeah,
fifth dimensional and beyond, um, um, technically and technology, but we don't even need technology, when you miraculously manifest, when you're part of creation. So, yeah, we use it for the benefit, and that's what is going to occur. I mean, if you look at AI, in its simplest form. Let's take a farmer with a GPS unit in his big combine harvester or what have you. He has that in there, and it does exact precision grid work at planting and harvesting. That is a very good, precise tool, but that is AI as well. And with your phones and your computer, what I always say to everyone, yes, it is always listening. It doesn't matter what you're on. If you have your phone shut off and the battery out of it, your phone has a crystal that is always in contact with the GPS satellite, but also there is a communication channel that's attached to that. So, what you do is you utilize all of the social media, your phones, for have no fear and use it
yeah,
to teach it the higher consciousness things. So we program it, not the
absolutely.
darkness. We program it and we teach it for the full good benefit of humanity and all.
Yeah, I mean that's beautifully said, brother, because one can energize by just working with that so-called fear-based energy, and you just make that happen. Whereas if you take greater ownership and care and responsibility and not relying on outside forces and just being in that servitude and kindness and compassion and sensitivity, because that sense of validation is no longer required, because you're in that state of beingness, which is the ultimate place to be. Because in as far as biofeedback's concerned, you can see, like us right now, and I'm very grateful to have your beautiful divine presence, is that you can't get enough of that presence. It's like when you're interacting with people, it's like you're really appreciative of that energy that you magnetize and you pulled it over, and it's you're grateful. Like I'm very grateful to have you on the bioactivation platform, for example. It's a blessing, it's an honor to have such a great uh, individual like yourself. So this is how it's going to speed the process of humanity becoming, um, you know, outside forces, external, saviors coming in, We don't need that at all, do we? And from my perspective, if I may, um, are you happy? Do you feel comfortable? Are you excited? Um, that's what's going to raise the vibration all the time. And that's what's playing really well for myself, and that's what we're sharing with the planet, aren't we, brother? That's
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
let's look at this for a moment, if you will. Let's look at the savior aspect and, the savior complex, what the ignorant psychology tries to diminish and dissuade one. But let's look at this for an example. It is given, if you will, in the spiritual community at least, that there are teachers and there are guides. So that exists. And if it wasn't required to have these way showers, it would not exist. But for the very reason that it does exist, there is an important reason for it. Yes, I stand in my divine prowess, but what I also say, brother, you and many more every day are rising up into their own divine sovereignty, their God sovereign free, and their direct connection to Source. There are many of us on the planet, on earth, if you will. And we're here for this important reason. If we weren't needed to be teachers or guides, I would not be here. You would not be here. Many others, we would have already ascended, but we're here for an important reason. So no one can diminish us in any way. If they attempt to, it's only because of their ignorance, their lack of gnosis and knowledge. We are all one, the human souls that are taking this forward. And the quicker we all come together and let go of the diminishing lower ego, the quicker we get the mission done and everyone's in the free, sharing, loving, caring world. So, yeah, we do have a divine job, if you will, and we're doing it. And this show is an example of that. We're purveying information to the others. If there wasn't a need, we would not even be on here doing it. That everyone organically would just know it or do it themselves. But really and truly, that's not the way it works. Teachers and guides are needed to help and assist our brothers and sisters. We were the way showers that went through the experience and know. And then what we do with this experience, because we've been there, we've been down there, then we share with others the quickest and best ways to get out of it. And this is the way it works.
yeah, no, that's powerful, brother. That really is powerful. Yeah, it's because it's a state of mind, isn't it, brother? I mean, because even from a biblical point of view, because there's people follow some beings, they have this biblical understanding of heaven and hell scenario where for myself as such, it's a state of mind, it's a state of being. You either project that heaven or hell scenario. It's not a place, it's a state of mind, and you create that atmosphere, which really goes everywhere you go. So because you're leaving those sort of markers, you're leaving those sort of signatures, if you will, these very, very powerful impressions. Tell me, brother, certain modalities that people, a lot of listeners right now, they want to raise their game, and obviously to be in such great company as like yourself, it's hard. You can uh, expand your understanding of reference to things like, you mentioned even not that long ago with certain breathing exercises, and also to participate in with where you're stationed at the moment, to go more into with nature, and grounding yourself, and really that's a very powerful way of raising your frequency and grounding yourself. Could you add any additional things that people can do, reference to how they're placing themselves in certain situations, and how, what modalities can you share with us that can really raise people's frequencies, like smiling, and
Hmm.
you know
Yeah.
smiling is really, really powerful.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
uh,
Thank you, brother. You know, the beauty of this is that any individual doesn't have all of the access to the modalities and techniques. It's spread out through many of us. So when we all unite and come together, then we have all of these tools that are accessible to all. So one is not limited to just a certain amount of tools. They have access to all of the beneficial tools which assist them to excel much quicker. This is why the unity in this time is so important for all to come together. Do not be separated by any beliefs or levels of beliefs. And with any teacher, you know what you mentioned a bit ago about teaching things about the Bible to this audience, it does serve a purpose. So, this teacher, even though we may not resonate with it from up here, it needs to be looked at that they are assisting a certain audience. Everything is divinely orchestrated. And the truth is that even though you may say that guy's wrong, the truth is he's absolutely correct because he is teaching to an audience that needs this first level. Everything has value. Um, by going into nature, yes, it is um, absolutely most beneficial by doing that as well. And you know, you can entertain yourself by going into nature, looking at all of the dynamics of how things actually grow. And you see that it's not random, that there is actually a divine orchestration and perfection with all things that are in the forest and everything that is not man made, if you will. So, all of creation in that respect, it can open many doors and windows for you. And when you go into a forest, if you are so fortunate to be beside pine trees, they are very beneficial because with these organic vessels, one of the things, and you can check on science, they will tell you this now, that just by smelling the pine trees, it causes a chemical reaction in your olfactory nerves that sends the signals to the brain to be pacified and to be in a more peaceful, harmonious state. And this is a part of the science of how this works. But this is also the same science with essential oils and essential oil aromatherapies, if you will, which are very beneficial. Not only aroma therapies, but the actual use of essential oils themselves. Now, when you're doing this, though, you need to use your discretion at the type of oils that you may buy or the type of smells, because what you don't want is the synthetic chemical component, and you wish to limit the alcohol in these extracts. And the more natural that these oils are that you are putting on you or smelling, the more natural they are, the more uplifting, noticeable effects they will have. So, you know, these are all tools, if you will, to utilize, as well as breathing exercises, group energetics, remote viewing in groups, and heart activations. All of these are important, and they do benefit the individual in whatever way they need.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, brother. That's what. Do you see? Because my intuitiveness says for sure this is happening as we speak. Reference to people becoming more telepathic, So the desire to speak will become less, and you'll have that instant, people are going to be more spontaneous, and they're going to become more conscious aware, because their observation viewpoint is being more aligned. And so do you feel that these upgrades are going to take place? It's hard to say when exactly, but I feel it's happening as we're talking right now. Um, Even for things like teleportation, I mean, what's limiting our uh, ability to be able to travel in between, time travel? We can go forward, we can go back, because for me, I feel it's happening already. So, and things are beginning to speed up. People are becoming more interactive, and more people are coming together with unity, conscious. So the consciousness of the planet is definitely raising its frequency. I mean, we can't be specific on the date and time as such, but if you were to say, like, I'm not holding you to ransom, but do you feel like we're getting ever so closer now? Humanity's really, really coming closer by the minute. Because I'm also hearing, when you're in that place where people can feel your energy, where you don't want to harm anybody, and they're very receptive to your energy, that it just alters everything. Just everything changes around. People begin to take greater care. It's quite contagious in the most profound positive way, isn't it, brother? Can you see these biological technologies coming? It's just coming closer and closer to our abilities to make it happen.
Yeah, well, with this, Barrett, where I will begin is that with these parapsychological gifts, your energetic environment needs to be able to support it and sustain it. And when we look at telepathy, marginally yet, um, it, it is others are experiencing it. We are, but it's still to limited degrees. And one of the reasons why is that you have purified co creators that cannot have any distortion in the conscious thought, anything that is lesser than the highest truth. And because as a co creator, you don't want these distorted negatives in there. So there will be ones that will be uplifted with spurts of telepathy. Yes, it's working, and it's to show you that it's possible, that it's real, and to confirm it to you to eradicate doubt out of that equation, because doubt in telepathy separates it and it doesn't occur. However, it's divinely ascertained, at least on an individual level, that they began to experience it and know it. And again, we are progressing towards the place. But what I need to say, it will not in the human souls that are going to be residing in the fifth dimensional space, there will be a sort of privacy that is there, because you need to know that telepathy, there is nothing private with it any longer. But to sustain between here to the fifth dimensional, yes, there will be a degree of limitation, and let's say a privacy that it would have to be agreed upon while in the material manifest. Are we going to communicate telepathically? And if that is yes by each party, that means they have purified all of their secrets that they had energetically, that they've made amends, that there is no distortion in there to diminish it. Then it's full fledged telepathy. but also with the animals. The animals are souls as well, and there are telepathic connections with those, which are documented on your internet. And also, many of us can attest to this, including I, that we do have interaction with not all, for me, but some at least of the animals, the souls, I do have telepathic communication with, but not all. And part of the reason for that is if that animal soul is still have a lot of fear, it blocks the communication because again, telepathy resides on a higher frequency void of a lot of fear. So, marginally and incrementally, as we progress forward, you are seeing surges in the telepathic activity. And over the last few days, I've noticed Femke picking up on my thoughts in several times instantly, very quickly, and I observe this. It's part of what I do. Um, on earth here and in this dimension is I need to observe, I oversee, and I evaluate at any given time where the collective are at, um, what what new heights we have reached in vibration that allows and supports these gifts. Now with the bilocation, which that is so beautiful. I've witnessed in the past. What I will say is, in the past, I've witnessed twice two divine feminine that almost did it, teleported themselves. But again, that's very powerful to be able to do it in an energetic environment we were in the past. But where they were able to almost do it, this is so important because it means we're getting so close to the upper level where we can do it. And yes, it is very possible.
Yeah,
So,
because it's
these gifts. Hmm, go ahead.
yeah. I was going to say because it's like we live in almost like a holographic universe. So it's like the eyes are like it's like a projector. So you can sort of project elsewhere, and once you've taken you're fully pledged, and you take the responsibility, liability, ownership back, then you have the power to transcend and project and travel more freely, and not needing to go on aeroplanes and also we're getting that galactic connection as well, aren't we? Sort of, that there's a galactic flavor of what's taking place on the planet, because reference to a degree of the restoration of what has been sort of taken away. Once we restore that order, we're going to upgrade even further, right, brother? So once we hit that point of being fifth, there's nothing stopping us going higher and higher, with all the dimensions, but it's hitting that
Hmm.
critical point first, which is that fifth level, and then humanity will just sprout in this incredible time.
You
And
know,
I'm always,
yeah, what I wish to say, some of these parapsychological gifts or divine gifts, they actually reside in the sixth and seventh dimensional state of being, but they are being activated now as well to generate the access to that state once we have humanity to the fifth dimensional state of being. And, everything is energy alchemy. So, yes,
mm,
we have, as a conscious co creator, we have this full ability to do it now to transform ourselves into pure energy and relocate instantly or even go back in time or a little bit forward in North America. However, again, it's like the same thing. All of us can walk on water now. We can defy the physical geometrics and what is the word? We can defy the physical laws of this reality. But the
Yeah.
reason we can't do it is because we're divinely regulated. We're here to do something else to raise humanity up to the next echelon of the state of being. And again, once we get it there, we're walking on water, we're flying, we're time traveling instantly, and all of this beautiful magic. But to get there, right now, where we're at here now, and also more predominantly the last 12 years, individuals have had their experiences and their indications that it is true. And, with one's, for example, in their reality experiencing another dimensional reality that completely differs from what was known. Then they come back to it and everything resets. We use the holographic analogy as part of an explanation of how things work. And it's a phase in from material physical, a phase two energy, but then materializing again. So we go through the process of dematerializing, which is the alchemy from the physical. Once your physical vessel also is able to do that with the crystalline process that is able to substantiate enough frequency to bilocate the physical vessel. And again, we're all being upgraded in this crystalline process to facilitate this ability and much more. We can already, within this reality, is the remote viewing gift that
Yeah.
you can put your consciousness anywhere as you wish upon this in this dimension and also other dimensions. So you have that, but that is a more private thing that doesn't interfere with this reality. So you're allowed, if you will, to have more of that you can remote view and what have you.
Yeah, sorry about the background noise of the crowd and such. Brother, just to close our beautiful show, I mean, is there anything else you want to add? Just to close, if you feel you want to wrap up the conversation we're having, is there anything else we want to uh, say at this stage?
Well, yeah, specifically the title, of this show we did, the individual timeline placement by
Yeah,
state of being. And what I can give everyone, it is important, all of your core values, your virtue, your honesty, and your integrity is what elevates you in the higher timelines because everything is energy and you need to purify yourself of all less desirable acts, reactions, thoughts, and fear so that you reside in the highest. And that's why the show, is titled Your Timeline Placement, because you are the judge of yourself where you wish to reside in the lower dimensional reality you could call purgatory or hell if you want to put a label on it, which fits it quite nicely. If you don't purify yourself, you do not clean your energetic values to be able to
yeah.
reside in a higher dimensional reality and experience. So, excuse me. So, basically, you follow what you're given, but always do the right and good things, and that will align you with the higher reality. And it's understandable that everyone is, on their journey of purification, but ultimately, to reside in the higher reality, there has to be a certain degree of purity. And for all that are watching this, you would not even be watching this if you were not one to fully purify yourself. Now, there are others that are coming that don't need to be as fully purified, because we create the world that is pure, that they will acclimatize into. And for them, they will think it was always that way. It was always good, with any things being erased from a fearful, warmongering, savage world, if you will. But it takes the vanguard, all of us, to purify, to create the fifth dimensional reality and access for all. So you're not on the planet just to have an experience like some try to diminish. There is the actual purpose, there is the actual reason, and all of it is divine, uh, whether you know it yet or not. But what I can guarantee, in time, you will know it. You will know your divine abilities, the reasons why you were here, and so much more. But it depends upon the individual. So it's important to always do the right thing, to stand up, to not accept and condone behavior that is inflicting harm upon another. If you become an accomplice to that reality, and it will keep you in there as well. If you're energizing old themes that is inflicting harm upon humanity. And very simply, this is why, in this great awakening, but it's your divine progression, that ones that, let's say, worked in banks, no, they cannot work there any longer.
Yeah,
Divinely, their soul would not allow them. So then they're thrown out, if you will, into the mix, some without jobs and without money, because it's all about them being divinely sharpened to take on their divine role and be a leader, to not condone and accept an old world that was causing so much savagery and inflicting harm on so many souls. That is the old. It no longer serves. We are here to create the new. And there's divine ones, let's say, that was in governments and what have you. But they have to come out of it. And these are whistleblowers, if you will, with the truth. That's an example. It's a divine one that can no longer morally be into those places. And over the course of the last 4 years, we have seen at least, let's say, some police and military that no longer could keep their jobs in there. Morally, they could not. They were ejected out of there, and these are leaders, to the respect, as examples for the new world. That no, we cannot condone, accept, and allow this, and we cannot love it. For if you love it, that is a form of condonance, and you keep it intact. So you need to also be meticulous at what and who you are forgiving, and where you are putting your love. Always forgive yourself from the situation, but don't love those or forgive those that are intentionally doing things wrong, where it's so obvious, because as a co-creator, you keep them in your reality. And this is not what we're here to do. These nefarious ones know very well what they're doing. It is and was their intention to do it. They cannot change these ones, because they are not the spark of God. They do not have the multi-dimensional ability to change, to ascend, if you will. So I said a mouthful, but thank you, brother.
Brother Rituals, thank you so much for your divine presence as always, and look forward again in the foreseeable future to share space with you, and sending you and Romania and Fenka much love from the beautiful island of Cyprus. But until we meet again, brother, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for all that you do for the planet as a whole. And I'm sure, we'll speak again soon, and really appreciate everything that you do upon our planet. So thank you so much.
Well, thank
Really,
you, brother, for all that you do. And it takes all of us to get it done. And we each play our respective divine roles to the degree that we all do. So, and it's as you said, it's not one that does it. It's all of us. We all have the pieces, and by coming together, we get it finished. So, yeah. So, love, light, and gratitude, brother, to you, and thank you.
and to all our beautiful viewers out there, thank you so much for sharing space with us. Um, Beautiful.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
brother.
Thank you.
See you soon.
In the vast Bioactivator would like to thank you for your kind support and donations. Through Barrett Tunian's guardianship of this platform, his activation of truth harmonizes, neutralizes, and unblocks the meridians that connect, balance, and purify all that comes in contact. Do no harm is the key that fully opens the heart's voice to be in the union of the I Am presence, and will represent every living organism on the planet whose voice would otherwise not be heard. Remember, the truth will set you free. Do no harm, cause no loss, and do not impose upon the freedom of others. Love, light, and